They came for her on the night of her 20th birthday, not with cake and candles, but with silver chains and a wedding dress stained with someone else's blood. Luna heard them before she saw them, the heavy boots on the porch, the deliberate crack of wood as her front door splintered inward. She dropped the knife she'd been using to slice her mother's homemade apple pie, the blade clattering against the kitchen floor. Luna Ashwood. Elder Cornelius filled the doorway, his gray beard bristling, his eyes hard as river stones. 3 other council members flanked him, their ceremonial robes dark as bruises in the lamplight. By order of the council and the old laws, you are summoned. Her mother's gasp cut through the room. Her father moved fast, placing himself between Luna and the elders, but Cornelius raised one gnarled hand. 2 enforcers appeared from the shadows, grabbing her father's arms and forcing him to his knees. Mom. The law is absolute, Cornelius said. His voice carried the weight of centuries. The king is dying. The pack weakens with him. You have been chosen. Luna's heart hammered against her ribs. Everyone knew about King Matthias. Once, he'd been the strongest alpha in 3 territories, fair and fierce, the kind of leader wolves would die for. Then the curse came, some said a witch's revenge, others whispered it was punishment from the moon herself. Now he was rotting from the inside out, and the pack's strength was draining away with him. Challenges from rival packs. Sickness spreading through the young. Crops failing even though the land should have been fertile. Chosen for what? But Luna already knew. She'd heard the rumors, the whispers that stopped when she entered a room. The elder's thin lips curved into something that wasn't quite a smile. To be his bride. To save us all. Her mother made a sound like a wounded animal. The enforcers produced silver chains, and Luna's father struggled uselessly against his captors as they bound his wrists. Silver burned werewolf skin, not enough to kill, but enough to hurt, enough to remind you who held the power. You can't. Luna backed toward the kitchen counter, her hands trembling. I'm nobody. I'm just. Your bloodline is older than you know, Cornelius interrupted. He stepped closer, and Luna caught the scent of dying leaves and desperation. Your great-grandmother was a healer. Before that, her mother. The gift runs in your veins, girl. The council believes you can break the king's curse. I don't have any gift. Luna's voice cracked. I can't even heal a paper cut. The ceremony will awaken it. He said it with such certainty, such cold conviction. The mating bond with the king will unlock your power. You'll heal him, and the pack will be saved. And if it doesn't work? Cornelius's silence was answer enough. One of the other elders stepped forward, carrying a bundle of white fabric. When she shook it out, Luna saw it was a dress, beautiful in a terrible way, with intricate lace and tiny pearls sewn into the bodice. But there, near the hem, were russet stains that could only be blood. Whose dress was that? Luna whispered. The last girl who was chosen. The female elder's face showed no emotion. She tried to run. Her mother sobbed openly now. Her father's face had gone pale, his jaw clenched so tight Luna could see the muscle jumping beneath his skin. You have 6 hours, Cornelius said. Until midnight. The full moon will witness your union with King Matthias, and your power will save us all. He paused at the door. We will be back to collect you. I suggest you don't make this harder than it needs to be. They left her parents bound with silver on the floor and walked out like they'd simply delivered a package instead of a death sentence. The moment their footsteps faded, Luna scrambled to free her parents, fumbling with the chains until she found the locks. Her father grabbed her shoulders the instant he was loose. You have to run. His voice was harsh with fear. Right now. Head for the northern border. Marcus, no. Her mother's face was wet with tears, but her voice was steady. You know what they'll do. The law is clear. If she runs, we all pay the price. I don't care about the law. Her father pulled Luna into a fierce hug. I care about our daughter. Luna breathed in his familiar scent, pine and earth and home. But her mother was right. The old laws didn't bend. If the chosen bride refused, if she ran, the entire pack would suffer. Starting with her family. Execution for disobedience. That's what the laws said. I can't let them kill you, Luna said softly. She pulled back, looking at both her parents. I can't. Baby, her mother's voice broke. A sharp knock on the back door made them all freeze. Luna's father moved in front of them again, but the door opened slowly, carefully. It's just me. Darren slipped inside, closing the door behind him. Luna's oldest friend looked like he'd run all the way from the other side of town, his dark hair wild, his chest heaving. I heard. The whole pack's heard. Darren. Luna felt tears burning her eyes. They're making me marry the king. I know. He crossed the room and took her hands. That's why I'm getting you out of here. I have a truck waiting 2 miles into the woods. We can be across the territory line before they even realize you're gone. For one wild moment, Luna almost said yes. Almost grabbed his hand and ran and didn't look back. Then she thought of her mother's face. Her father's fierce love. The families in their pack who'd known her since birth, who'd celebrated every birthday, who'd taught her to hunt and fight and survive. If I run, they'll kill everyone I love, she said quietly. You know that's how it works. Then we all run. Darren's grip tightened. Your parents, my family, anyone who'll come. We start a new pack. And the king? Luna pulled her hands away. He dies. The curse spreads. The pack falls apart. Rival alphas move in and slaughter whoever's left. That's not your responsibility. Yes, it is. The words tasted bitter. They've made it my responsibility. Her father swore softly. Her mother just looked at her with such sadness, such pride, that Luna had to turn away. There has to be another way, Darren insisted. Luna, please. There isn't. She felt something hardening inside her, turning cold and sharp. This is the only way to keep everyone safe. The next 6 hours passed in a blur. Her mother helped her into the blood-stained dress. It fit perfectly, which somehow made everything worse. Other women from the pack arrived to do her hair, to paint her face, their hands gentle but their eyes full of pity. No one met her gaze directly. No one told her it would be okay. Because they all knew it wouldn't be. When the council returned, Cornelius looked almost pleased. Wise choice, girl. They put silver chains on her wrists anyway. Light ones, decorative, but they still burned. A warning. A reminder. The ceremony took place in the old stone hall where the pack held its most important rituals. Luna had been here for celebrations, for festivals, for naming ceremonies of new babies. Now the space felt cold and empty despite the dozens of wolves gathered to witness. At the far end of the hall, beside an altar carved with ancient symbols, stood King Matthias. Luna's breath caught. She'd never seen him up close before. He'd been a distant figure, a legend more than a man. But now, walking toward him down an aisle lined with silent witnesses, she could see what the curse had done. His skin was gray, stretched too tight over sharp bones. His eyes were sunken, shadowed, the gold that should have gleamed there dimmed almost to nothing. He wore ceremonial robes that hung loose on his frame, as if he was disappearing inside them. But when he looked at her, when their eyes met across that space, Luna saw something flicker in his gaze. Something that looked almost like recognition. Almost like regret. The elder began the ceremony. Words in the old language, promises Luna didn't agree to, vows she couldn't refuse. Her voice shook when they made her repeat the binding phrases. King Matthias said nothing. He just watched her with those hollow gold eyes. When Cornelius gestured for them to join hands, when the silver chains fell away from Luna's wrists so the king could take them in his own cold grip, she felt the power of the mating bond begin to stir. Like something waking up after a long sleep. Like magic rising through her blood. It hurt. Not the surface burn of silver but something deeper, something that felt like it was pulling at the very core of her wolf spirit. Do you feel it? Cornelius leaned close, his breath hot against her ear. Your power awakening? Soon you'll heal him. Soon everything will be as it should be. Luna's hands trembled in the king's grip. She could feel her wolf crying out somewhere inside her, could feel the healing magic trying to surface, and knew with absolute certainty that if she let it, if she gave everything they were demanding, there would be nothing left of her. They wanted her to burn herself out to save him. To sacrifice her own wolf, her own spirit, her own life. The magic surged stronger. The king's grip tightened on her hands. Around them, the pack held its collective breath. And then Matthias leaned forward, close enough that his lips nearly brushed her ear, close enough that only she could hear when he spoke. 2 words. Barely a whisper. Trust nothing. His gold eyes met hers again, and Luna saw it clearly now, not surrender, not gratitude, but warning. Before she could respond, before she could even process what he meant, his body went rigid. His eyes rolled back. He collapsed, pulling her down with him, and the last thing Luna heard before the chaos erupted was Cornelius's voice, sharp with fury and something that might have been fear. Complete the bond. Now. Or we all die. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 2. The king's body hit the stone floor with a sound that echoed through Luna's bones. She went down with him, their hands still locked together, the incomplete mating bond crackling between them like a live wire. Matthias. Cornelius shoved Luna aside, and she sprawled backward, her palms scraping against cold stone. The elder dropped to his knees beside the king, pressing gnarled fingers to his throat. He's still breathing. Barely. The pack erupted into chaos. Voices shouting over each other. Someone screaming that the girl had done this, that she'd made it worse. Luna scrambled to her feet, her head spinning, that strange magic still churning inside her like a trapped animal. Get her out of here, one of the council members barked. Lock her in his chambers until we decide what to do with her. 2 guards grabbed Luna's arms before she could protest. They hauled her through a side door while behind her, she heard Cornelius ordering healers, heard the scrape of the king's body being lifted, heard the whispers that followed her like wolves tracking wounded prey. Failed already. Useless. Should have known better. The king's chambers were in the oldest part of the pack house, up a winding staircase that seemed to go on forever. The guards didn't speak to her, didn't even look at her. They just marched her forward like she was a prisoner being taken to execution. Maybe she was. The door to Matthias's rooms was heavy oak reinforced with iron, carved with symbols Luna had never seen before. When the guards pushed it open, she felt something wash over her skin, a tingle, a pressure, like walking through a waterfall that wasn't quite there. In. One guard shoved her forward. Don't even think about trying to leave. The door slammed shut behind her. Luna heard the heavy bolt slide home, heard their footsteps retreating down the stairs. She was alone. The chambers were bigger than her entire house. A massive bed dominated one side of the room, its posts carved with more of those strange symbols. Bookshelves lined the walls, stuffed with volumes that looked older than the pack itself. A fireplace big enough to stand in took up most of the far wall, though no fire burned there now. Everything was covered in a thin layer of dust, like no one had really lived here in a long time. Luna wrapped her arms around herself, suddenly freezing despite the blood-stained wedding dress. The magic that had surged during the ceremony was still there, coiled tight in her chest, but it felt different now. Quieter. Like it was waiting for something. Trust nothing, Matthias had whispered. What did that mean? Trust nothing about the ceremony? The council? The curse itself? She crossed to the windows, tall, narrow things that looked out over the pack lands. In the distance, she could see the lights of the town, the houses where normal wolves were living normal lives. Not being forced into marriages with dying kings. Not being told their bloodline held some magical power they'd never felt before tonight. Luna pressed her forehead against the cool glass. If she were braver, she'd break the window and climb out. She'd run like Darren had begged her to. Let the consequences fall where they would. But she wasn't brave. She was just terrified and trapped and so tired. The sound of the bolt sliding back made her spin around. The door opened, and 2 different guards carried Matthias inside. He was conscious now, but barely, his head lolled against one guard's shoulder, his skin even grayer than before. They deposited him on the bed with zero gentleness, and one of them shot Luna a look of pure contempt. "You'll tend to him," the guard said. "That's what you're here for, isn't it?" They left before she could respond. The bolt slid home again. Luna stared at the king sprawled across his bed. His chest rose and fell in shallow breaths. His eyes were closed, his face twisted like even unconsciousness hurt. She should help him. Wasn't that the whole point? Use her supposed healing magic, save the pack, play the part they'd written for her? But trust nothing echoed in her head. Luna moved closer, careful, like approaching a wounded animal. Up close, she could see the veins of black spreading beneath his skin, spiderwebbing out from his chest like poison roots. The curse, or whatever it was eating him alive. "I know you're awake," she said quietly. Matthias's eyes opened. Those dimmed gold eyes focused on her with an intensity that made her take a step back. "Smart girl." His voice was rough, barely above a whisper. He pushed himself up slowly, wincing with every movement, until he was sitting against the headboard. "How much time do we have before they come back?" "I don't, what?" "Before the council sends someone to check on us." He spoke faster now, urgency cutting through the weakness. "An hour? 2. They'll want to know if the bond is complete, if your power is healing me." Luna's hands clenched in the fabric of her dress. "I don't have any power. I told them that. I can't heal you." "I know." Something that might have been a smile ghosted across his face. "I don't need healing. I need something much harder." "I don't understand." Matthias gestured toward the door, toward the symbols carved into the wood. "You felt the wards when you came in?" "Yes." Luna nodded slowly. "Like walking through water that wasn't there. Those wards are designed to detect magic. Any magic." He watched her carefully. "Do you know what you felt during the ceremony? That power rising in your blood? The healing gift. My bloodline is immune to detection wards." Matthias pushed himself further upright, and Luna saw him grit his teeth against the pain. "Your great-grandmother wasn't just a healer, Luna. She was a truth-seer. She could identify lies, curses, poisons, anything hidden by magic. The gift manifests differently in each generation, but the core remains the same. You can see what others deliberately hide." Luna's head was spinning. "That's not possible." "I've never." "Because you've never needed to. Never been in a situation where the gift had reason to wake up." He lifted one shaking hand and gestured around the room. "Look now. Really look. Tell me what you see." She almost refused. Almost told him he was crazy, that this was all insane. But something made her look. Made her focus on the room the way she'd focused on the door, on those symbols that had tingled against her skin. And she saw them. Lines of light, so faint they were almost invisible, running along the walls. Pooling in corners. Weaving through the air like spider silk made of moonlight. "The wards," Luna breathed. "I can see the wards." "You can see magic itself." Matthias sounded satisfied despite his obvious pain. "That's your gift. Not healing. Seeing." Luna turned in a slow circle, watching the way the light moved and shifted. It was beautiful in a strange way. Dangerous in another. "Why does that matter?" "Because I'm not cursed." The king's voice went hard. I'm being poisoned. Slowly, carefully, by someone who knows exactly how to mask it from our pack healers, from magical detection, from everything. But they didn't account for someone who could see through the masking spells themselves. The words hit Luna like a physical blow. Poisoned? By who? If I knew that, I wouldn't need you. Matthias leaned back against the headboard, exhaustion written in every line of his face. Someone on the council. Someone close enough to have access to my food, my drink, my chambers. Someone patient enough to do this over months, years even. Luna's mind raced. The council chose me. They arranged this marriage. If one of them is poisoning you, then they chose you for a reason. His gold eyes met hers. Think, Luna. They told you that you'd heal me, that your power would save the pack. But what if that was never the plan? The room felt suddenly colder. What are you saying? Matthias reached into his robes and pulled out a folded piece of parchment, worn at the edges like it had been handled many times. He held it out to her. Read this. Luna took it with shaking hands. Unfolded it. Saw names written in careful script. Elara Moonwhisper, age 19, died after 12 days. Sarah Nightshade, age 18, died after 9 days. Rebecca Silverstream, age 20, died after 15 days. 3 names. 3 ages. 3 death notices. Who are they? But Luna already knew. Could feel the truth settling into her bones like ice. My previous wives. Matthias's voice was gentle now, almost kind. 3 girls before you. All forced into marriage by the council. All from families with your same ancient bloodline. All dead within weeks. The parchment slipped from Luna's fingers. No. That's not, they said I was chosen to save you. You were chosen to die. He said it so matter-of-factly, like he was commenting on the weather. Just like they did. The question is why. Luna backed away until she hit the wall, barely feeling the impact. Her chest was tight, her wolf clawing inside her, panic rising like floodwater. This doesn't make sense. Why would they kill girls from my bloodline? Why marry them to you first? Because the marriages are necessary for whatever they're planning. Matthias watched her with those ancient eyes. The mating bond creates a magical link. When you die, that link breaks in a specific way. It releases power. I think they're using that power for something, though I haven't figured out what yet. I need to leave. Luna's voice came out high and thin. Right now. I'll run, They'll execute your family. You know that. Matthias wasn't cruel about it, just stating facts. And they'll find you. Force you back. Make you complete the bond before they kill you anyway. Luna slid down the wall until she was sitting on the floor, her blood-stained dress pooling around her. So I'm going to die. No matter what. Not if we find the traitor first. Matthias swung his legs off the bed, moving like every bone hurt. Not if we figure out why they need your bloodline dead and stop them before they can finish whatever they've started. I'm 20 years old. Luna heard her voice break. I don't know anything about pack politics or magic or investigating murders. I can't do this. You don't have a choice. He made it to his feet, swaying slightly, and crossed to where she sat. Held out one hand. But you're not doing it alone. I've been watching the council for months, looking for proof. You can see what I can't. Together, we have a chance. Luna looked at his outstretched hand. At the black veins crawling beneath his skin. At the determination burning in those dying gold eyes. Why should I trust you? She whispered. Maybe this is just another game. Maybe you're part of it. Maybe I am. Matthias didn't lower his hand. But right now, I'm the only one telling you the truth. The only one who warned you to trust nothing, including me, if you're smart. Luna thought of her parents bound in silver. Of Darren begging her to run. Of the 3 names on that parchment, 3 girls who'd stood where she was standing now. She thought of the way Cornelius had smiled when he'd put the blood-stained dress in her hands. The last girl who was chosen. She tried to run. Slowly, Luna reached up and took Matthias's hand. Let him pull her to her feet. What do I have to do? Play your part during the day. Matthias steadied her, his hand cold but strong around hers. Be the terrified bride. Let them think you're too scared and stupid to be a threat. Then at night, when they think you're just tending to your dying husband, you'll investigate. I don't know how to investigate. I'll teach you. He released her hand and moved toward one of the bookshelves, pulling down a volume that looked like it might crumble to dust any moment. How to mask your scent so they can't track where you've been. How to read pack dynamics and spot lies. How to use your gift to see through their magic. Luna wrapped her arms around herself again. And if we fail? If we don't figure it out before they kill you like they killed the others? Matthias set the book on a table, flipping through pages covered in diagrams and notes. Then at least you'll die fighting instead of wondering what hit you. It wasn't comforting. It wasn't even particularly hopeful. But it was better than nothing. When do we start? Luna asked. Matthias looked up from the book, and for the first time, she saw something like approval in his face. Right now. Come here. She crossed to the table. The book was filled with pack records, marriages, deaths, council meetings. Matthias pointed to a section marked with his own handwriting. These are the dates my previous wives died. And these, he flipped forward several pages, are the council meetings that happened immediately after. Notice anything? Luna studied the notes. Her head hurt from everything that had happened tonight, but she forced herself to focus. The meetings were all emergency sessions. Called by Cornelius. And the topics? Matthias prompted. She read through the brief summaries. Territory expansion. New trade agreements. Access to the northern silver mines. Luna looked up. I don't understand. What do those have to do with? Each meeting resulted in the council gaining more power. More resources. More control. Matthias's finger tapped the page. And each one happened right after a bride died, when the pack was in mourning and I was at my weakest. The implications settled over Luna like a shroud. They're using the deaths. Using your weakness to push through changes. Changes that consolidate their power, yes. Matthias closed the book. But there's something bigger happening. Something that requires your specific bloodline dead. I just haven't figured out what. A knock at the door made them both freeze. My king? A voice Luna didn't recognize. The council requests an update on your condition. Matthias moved fast despite his obvious pain. He grabbed Luna's wrist and pulled her toward the bed. Follow my lead, he whispered. Then, louder, enter. The door opened. An older woman in council robes stepped inside, not one of the elders who'd crashed Luna's birthday, but someone else. Someone with sharp eyes that missed nothing. Elder Moira. Matthias collapsed back onto the bed, making it look natural, making himself appear even weaker than he was. Forgive me. The ceremony took its toll. Moira's gaze swept over them both. Luna felt exposed, like those eyes could see right through her skin to the fear underneath. And the girl? Has the bond taken hold? It's begun. Matthias reached out and grabbed Luna's hand again, and she felt that incomplete bond pulse between them. But she'll need time. Training. Her gift is raw. Time is something we don't have. Moira moved closer, and Luna caught her scent, herbs and smoke and something else. Something that made her wolf bristle. The pack grows weaker by the day. If she cannot heal you soon, she will. Matthias's grip on Luna's hand tightened. A warning. Won't you, my dear? Luna forced herself to nod, to play the terrified bride. I'll try. I want to help. Moira studied her for a long moment. Luna kept her eyes down, kept her body language submissive, kept everything that was screaming inside her hidden behind a mask of fear. Finally, the elder nodded. See that you do. The pack's survival depends on it. She turned toward the door, then paused. Oh, and Luna? Your parents send their love. They're so proud of your sacrifice for the pack. It was a threat wrapped in sweetness. A reminder that her family was still within their reach. Thank you, Luna whispered. Moira left. The door closed. The bolt slid home. Luna waited until she couldn't hear footsteps anymore before she pulled her hand from Matthias's grip. Did you smell that? On her? The herbs. Matthias sat up. What about them? I don't know. Luna pressed her hands to her temples, trying to focus on what her instincts were telling her. But my wolf reacted to it. Like it recognized something dangerous. Your gift again. Matthias was watching her intently now. You're sensing something wrong about her. Something hidden. Luna looked at the door, at the wards she could now see glowing faintly in the wood. She's one of them. The traitors. Possibly. Or she could just be complicit. Matthias swung his legs off the bed again. We need proof before we can act. Accusations against a council elder without evidence would get us both killed. How do we get proof? You tell me. Matthias gestured to the room, to the wards, to everything Luna could now see that others couldn't. You're the one who can see through their magic. What do your instincts say? Luna closed her eyes, reaching for that gift that had awakened during the ceremony. It felt strange, like using a muscle she'd never known existed. But when she opened her eyes again and really looked, she could see traces of that same herb smoke scent lingering in the air. See the way it moved, almost alive, tracing a path from the door to the bed. To Matthias. She's been here before, Luna said slowly. Recently. And she brought something with her. Something that left traces. The poison. Matthias's voice went hard. She's been administering it personally. Luna followed the traces with her eyes, watching them pool near the bedside table. Near a crystal decanter filled with amber liquid. Your water? Whiskey. Matthias picked up the decanter, holding it to the light. I drink a glass most nights. Have for years. Don't. Luna grabbed his wrist before he could pour. Look at it. Really look. Matthias stared at the liquid, but Luna could see from his face that he saw nothing unusual. Normal whiskey in a normal decanter. But when she looked, when she used her gift, she could see threads of darkness swirling through the amber. So faint they were almost invisible. So carefully hidden that no one would ever notice. Unless they could see magic itself. It's in there, Luna breathed. The poison. Woven through every drop. Matthias set the decanter down carefully, like it might explode. How long has she been doing this? I don't know. But, Luna focused harder, following those dark threads backward through the air. Seeing where they'd come from, where they'd been. And she saw something else. Something that made her blood run cold. Matthias. The poison isn't just in the whiskey. What do you mean? Luna turned in a slow circle, using her gift to scan the entire room. And everywhere she looked, she saw them. Those dark threads. In the water pitcher. The wine. The fruit bowl on the table. Even in the dust itself, coating every surface. It's everywhere, she whispered. The whole room is saturated with it. You've been breathing it, eating it, drinking it for months. Maybe years. Matthias's face went gray. That's not possible. The wards should have detected. The wards detect magic being used against you. But this isn't an attack. Luna understood it now, saw the terrible cleverness of it. It's just poison. Mundane, chemical poison that's been placed here by someone with legitimate access to your chambers. The only magical element is the concealment, and that's not targeted at you, so the wards don't react. Gods. Matthias sat down heavily on the bed. I've been dying in my own chambers and never knew. Luna looked at the door, at the symbols carved there that were supposed to protect him. We need to tell someone. The council, the pack healers. No. Matthias grabbed her hand. Think, Luna. If Moira is doing this, she's not working alone. The council chose her to check on us tonight. Which means they either know what she's doing or they're all complicit. Then what do? We pretend. Matthias met her eyes, and Luna saw the steel beneath the weakness. We pretend the marriage is working, that your power is slowly healing me. We buy time to figure out who else is involved and what they're planning. And we find a way to stop them before they kill both of us. Luna thought of those 3 names on the parchment. 3 girls who'd probably stood in this same room, having this same conversation, making these same desperate plans. None of them had survived. I'm scared, she admitted quietly. Good. Matthias squeezed her hand once before releasing it. Fear will keep you careful. Careful will keep you alive. He moved toward one of the bookshelves, pulling down another volume. Now come here. We have work to do, and we have maybe 6 hours before someone checks on us again. I need to teach you how to mask your scent, and you need to teach me how to see what you see. I don't know how to teach it. Then we'll figure it out together. Matthias opened the book to a page covered in diagrams of scent markers and pheromone patterns. Because in 6 hours, you're going to walk out of this room and play the dutiful, terrified bride. You're going to let the pack see you as weak and scared and desperate to please. I don't have to pretend to be scared. I know. His voice gentled slightly. But you do have to pretend to be weak. And that, Luna Ashwood, is going to be the hardest part of all. Wanting to see what would happen next, subscribe to this channel to get to listen to more of our upcoming exciting stories. Click on the subscribe button now. Thank you. Chapter 3. Luna learned to lie with her eyes. It took 3 days of practice, standing in front of the mirror in Matthias's chambers while he coached her from the bed. How to keep her gaze down but not too far down. How to make her shoulders curve inward just enough to suggest defeat without looking suspicious. How to let her scent carry fear, real fear, which wasn't hard, while masking the anger and determination underneath. Better, Matthias said on the 4th morning, watching her prepare to face the pack at breakfast. But you're still holding tension in your jaw. They'll notice. Luna forced her muscles to relax, even though everything in her wanted to stay coiled tight. How do you know all this? I've been alpha for 15 years. He was sitting up today, looking slightly less like death, though Luna knew it was temporary. They'd cleared his chambers of anything obviously poisoned, but the damage was already done. You don't hold power that long without learning to read people. And to hide yourself. She studied him in the mirror. In the early morning light, she could see the black veins more clearly, spreading like cracks through porcelain. But there was something else now, a sharpness to his gaze that hadn't been there before. Like being poisoned had been dulling him, and now that they'd stopped the constant influx, his mind was clearing. Will it work? Luna adjusted the simple dress they'd chosen, nothing like the blood-stained wedding gown, which she'd burned in the fireplace their first night. Convincing them I'm just a scared girl? It already is. Matthias stood, moving to his desk where he'd been mapping out the council's meeting schedule. Moira reported back that you're properly submissive and eager to please. Her words. Luna's hands clenched. She'd seen Moira twice more since that first night, always bringing something, fresh water, fruit, clean linens. Always leaving those traces of poison that only Luna could see. I want to confront her. Not yet. Matthias had said this a dozen times, but Luna still struggled with it. We have one piece of the puzzle. We need the whole picture. A knock at the door made them both straighten. Luna automatically shifted into her submissive posture, shoulders curved, eyes down, hands clasped. Matthias returned to the bed, letting exhaustion show in every line of his body. "Enter," he called. The door opened, and Luna's heart jumped into her throat. Darren. He wore the uniform of the King's Guard, dark leather and silver clasps, a sword at his hip. His dark hair was pulled back, his face carefully neutral, but when his eyes found Luna, she saw the flash of relief. "My king." Darren bowed, proper and formal. "I've been assigned to your personal detail." "Captain's orders." Matthias's scent changed. Subtle, but Luna had learned to read him over the past few days. Something sharp and possessive cut through the air. "The captain assigned you." Matthias's voice was mild, but Luna heard the edge underneath. "How convenient." "I volunteered, my king." Darren kept his gaze straight ahead, not looking at Luna again. "Given the situation, I thought." "You thought you'd keep watch over what's mine." The words hung in the air like a challenge. Luna felt the incomplete bond pulse, felt Matthias's territorial instinct rising despite his weakened state. This was dangerous. This could expose everything. "Darren is my oldest friend," Luna said quietly, keeping her voice soft and pleading. "Please, my king." It would comfort me to have someone familiar nearby. She hated how the words sounded. Hated playing weak and dependent. But Matthias had taught her that power often wore the mask of submission. Matthias studied Darren for a long moment. Luna could practically see him weighing options, calculating risks. Finally, he nodded. "You'll accompany Luna to breakfast. See that she's not bothered by the pack." "Yes, my king." Darren bowed again. "And Darren?" Matthias's voice dropped lower. "Remember whose mate she is. Incomplete bond or not, she's under my protection. Touch her, and I'll rip your throat out myself, poison be damned." Luna felt her face heat. Darren's jaw tightened, but he nodded. "Understood, my king." The walk to the dining hall was torture. Darren stayed 2 steps behind Luna, proper guard distance, but she could feel his presence like a hand on her shoulder. Could feel all the things he wanted to say pressing against his careful silence. The dining hall was already full when they arrived. Long tables packed with wolves eating breakfast, their conversations dying as Luna entered. She felt their eyes on her like physical weight. Felt their judgment, their contempt. Social climber. Opportunist. Failed healer. The whispers weren't even quiet. "There's a seat." Darren gestured to a space at one of the lower tables, far from the council's raised platform at the front. Luna started toward it, but a voice cut through the hall. "Luna Ashwood." Elder Camille stood from the council's table, her robes pristine white, her silver hair braided with beads that clicked when she moved. "Join us. Your place is here now." It wasn't a request. Luna climbed the steps to the raised platform, feeling every eye in the hall tracking her movement. The council's table held 5 seats, 1 for each elder. The 6th seat, at the head, was Matthias's. Empty now, though his absence felt like a missing tooth. "Sit." Camille gestured to a small chair that had been added beside Matthias's seat. Lower than the others. A child's chair, almost. Luna sat, keeping her eyes down. From here, she could see the entire hall. Could see Darren taking a position along the wall with the other guards. Could see the pack members watching her with expressions that ranged from pity to disgust. "How is our king?" Elder Cornelius leaned forward, his gray beard brushing the table. "Your healing powers, they're working?" "I'm trying," Luna said softly. "He's very weak." "The curse." Yes, the curse." Cornelius waved this away like it was irrelevant. "But you feel the bond strengthening? Your power awakening?" Luna thought of the poison coating every surface in Matthias's chambers. Thought of the 3 dead girls whose names she'd memorized. "I feel something. But I need more time." "Time." Camille's voice was gentle, almost motherly. Of course, child. These things can't be rushed. She placed a hand on Luna's shoulder, and Luna had to fight not to flinch. We're all counting on you. Through her gift, Luna could see the threads of magic woven into Camille's rings, silver bands that glowed with power. Could see the way those threads reached out, almost touching Luna's skin, like they were testing her. Searching for something. Luna kept her expression blank, confused, young. Let them see a scared girl trying her best. But inside, she was cataloging everything. The way Camille's scent carried notes of incense and old blood. The way Moira kept glancing at the elder with something that looked like deference. The way the other council members seemed to orbit Camille like planets around a sun. Elder Camille, the council's spiritual leader. Matthias had told Luna to watch her. Said there was something off about the way Camille had pushed for the marriage, the way she'd insisted on the old rituals being followed exactly. Now, sitting beside her, feeling those magical threads testing and probing, Luna understood why. Breakfast dragged on. Luna picked at her food, playing the part of someone too nervous to eat. Around her, the council discussed pack business, territory patrols, supply issues, a disagreement with a neighboring pack over hunting grounds. Normal things that felt surreal given everything Luna now knew. She was so focused on watching Camille that she almost missed it. The doors to the dining hall crashed open. Every wolf in the room turned. Conversations died. Even the council went silent. A man stood in the doorway. Tall, broad-shouldered, with dark hair and eyes like storm clouds. He wore traveling clothes covered in road dust, and power rolled off him in waves that made Luna's wolf press against her skin, uncertain whether to submit or fight. Alpha power. Pure and undiluted. Well. The stranger's voice carried across the silent hall. I heard rumors that Matthias was dying. Didn't believe them until now. His gaze swept the room, dismissive. If the king can't even attend breakfast with his own pack, how weak has he become? Cornelius stood, his face flushed. Alpha Ronan. You weren't expected. I don't need an invitation to visit a failing pack. Ronan walked into the hall like he owned it, his boots echoing on the stone floor. By pack law, any alpha can challenge a leader who's too weak to protect his territory. I'm here to make that challenge formal. The hall erupted. Wolves shouting, some in agreement, others in protest. The council members were on their feet, trying to restore order. Luna sat frozen, her heart hammering. She'd heard of challenge rights, but they were ancient law. Rarely invoked. A relic from when packs were smaller and leadership changed through combat. Ronan's eyes found her. Swept over her in a way that made her skin crawl. And this must be the new bride. The fourth one, isn't it? Fourth. He knew about the others. How? Luna is none of your concern, Camille said sharply. This challenge is premature. King Matthias is recovering. Recovering? Ronan laughed. I can smell death on this whole pack house. He's poisoned, anyone with a working nose can tell. His gaze fixed on Camille. Unless you're claiming otherwise, Elder? The way he said it. The knowing look they exchanged. Luna's gift flared, and she saw it. Threads of magic connecting Ronan to Camille. Faint, but there. A link between them that pulsed with shared purpose. They were working together. The challenge law is clear, Ronan continued. If Matthias can't defend his territory in combat by the full moon, I can claim everything. Territory. Pack. His eyes slid to Luna again. Mate. She's not his mate, someone shouted from the crowd. The bond's not complete. Even better. Ronan smiled, and it was all teeth. Means she's free to choose. And I'm offering a much better option than dying alongside a poisoned king. Luna felt sick. Felt every eye in the hall turn to her, waiting to see what she'd do. Before she could speak, Darren moved. Stepped away from the wall, his hand on his sword. Watch your tongue, Darren growled. She's spoken for. The temperature in the room dropped. Ronan turned to face Darren, and the alpha power radiating off him intensified. Who's this? The childhood friend? He sniffed the air. Oh, this is Rich. The dying king, the unwilling bride, and the boy who loves her. What a tragedy. Stand down, guard. Cornelius's voice cracked like a whip. This is alpha business. But Darren didn't stand down. Didn't move. And Luna saw the way Ronan's eyes brightened with interest. Loyal, Ronan said. I like that. Tell you what, boy. When I win, I'll make you captain of my guard. Give you a front row seat to watching me claim what you never could. Darren lunged. He didn't make it 2 steps before 4 guards grabbed him, hauling him back. Darren struggled, his face twisted with rage, but they held him fast. Remove him, Cornelius ordered. Cool off in the cells until he remembers his place. They dragged Darren toward the door. He fought them every step, his eyes locked on Luna. She wanted to scream, to stop them, but that wasn't what a scared, submissive bride would do. So she stayed silent. Stayed in her chair. Let them take him. Ronan watched with amusement. Touching. Now, where were we? Ah, yes. The challenge. He turned back to the council. I invoke the ancient right. By the full moon, Matthias fights me, or he forfeits everything. The full moon is in 3 days, Moira protested. That's not enough time. The law doesn't specify a minimum notice period. Ronan's smile widened. Unless you'd like to argue pack law with me, Elder? Silence. Because he was right. Luna could see it in the council's faces. They were trapped by the same ancient laws they'd used to force her into marriage. We'll need to consult with the king, Camille said finally. Her voice was calm, but Luna saw tension in her shoulders. He has the right to accept or refuse the challenge. Of course. Ronan made a mocking bow. I'll wait. But not long. 3 days, remember? After that, willing or not, I take what's mine. He left with the same dramatic flair he'd entered with. The moment the doors closed behind him, the hall exploded into conversation. Luna sat perfectly still, her mind racing. Ronan and Camille were connected. Working together. But why? What did a rival alpha have to gain from helping poison Matthias? Unless. The thought hit her like ice water. The previous brides. All dead within weeks. What if they hadn't died from the poison? What if the poison was just meant to weaken Matthias, to make him vulnerable? What if something else had killed those girls? Luna stood abruptly. I need to see the king. Please. Camille looked at her with those kind, maternal eyes that Luna now knew hid something much darker. Of course, dear. You must be frightened. Go to your mate. Comfort him in this difficult time. Luna fled the hall, practically running up the stairs to Matthias's chambers. The guards at his door let her through without question. Why would they? She was just the weak, useless bride running to her dying husband. She burst through the door. Matthias, we have a... She stopped. Matthias was standing. Not leaning on furniture, not moving with careful weakness. Standing straight and strong, his color better than she'd seen in days. What? Luna closed the door behind her. How? There's something I need to tell you. Matthias's voice was steady, but his eyes held resignation. Something I should have mentioned before. Luna's stomach dropped. What did you do? He crossed to his desk and pulled out a small vial. Empty now, but Luna could see residue in the bottom. When she looked with her gift, she saw threads of magic clinging to the glass. Dark red, almost black. It's called Vita Obscura, Matthias said quietly. A drug that temporarily masks illness by burning through the user's remaining lifespan. Each dose costs me days, maybe weeks. No. Luna grabbed the vial from him, staring at it. Why would you? Because I heard Ronan arrive. Heard the challenge being issued. Matthias took the vial back, setting it carefully on the desk. And I knew what I had to do. You can't fight him. You're still poisoned, still weak. The drug masks the poison's effects for approximately 6 hours. Matthias spoke like he was discussing the weather. Long enough to fight. Long enough to win, probably. And then what? You said it yourself, it's eating your lifespan. How much time do you have left? Matthias met her eyes. After the fight? Hours, maybe. A day at most. The room spun. Luna grabbed the edge of the desk to steady herself. This is insane. We'll find another way. We'll expose Camille and Ronan, There's no time. Matthias moved closer, his movements fluid now, graceful. The drug was working, making him appear whole again. The full moon is in 3 days. If I don't accept the challenge, Ronan takes everything. Including you. I don't care about me. I do. His voice was fierce now, and Luna saw the alpha he must have been before the poisoning. Do you know what happens to forced mates when their alpha dies? Luna shook her head. The bond breaks. Violently. It tears through the survivor's spirit, looking for the power that was shared between them. Matthias's hands clenched. That's what killed the other girls, Luna. Not poison. They were sacrificed. Their deaths released the alpha power they'd been linked to, and someone, Camille, I'm guessing, used that power in dark magic rituals. Luna's legs gave out. She sank into a chair, her whole body numb. They're going to do that to me. Not if the bond breaks before you're fully mated. Matthias knelt in front of her, his gold eyes intense. If I die in honorable combat, the incomplete bond will dissolve cleanly. You'll be free. Ronan won't be able to claim you because you'll no longer be tied to pack law as my mate. But you'll be dead. I'm dead anyway. He said it so matter-of-factly. The poison has spread too far. Even if we stopped it completely today, I have months at best. This way, I die with purpose. I free you. I expose Ronan and Camille's plot by refusing to let it work. Luna grabbed his face between her hands, forcing him to look at her. There has to be another way. There isn't. Then we run. Both of us. Right now. Where? Matthias smiled sadly. I'm the Alpha King. Every pack in 3 territories knows my face. And you're marked as my mate. We'd be hunted down within days. Then we fight them. Together. With what army? He pulled her hands down but didn't release them. Luna, listen to me. In 3 days, I'm going to walk into that challenge circle. I'm going to fight Ronan with everything I have left. And I'm going to win, because that's the only way to break the bond before they can sacrifice you. Why? Luna felt tears burning her eyes, hated herself for them. Why do you care what happens to me? We barely know each other. Matthias was quiet for a moment. Then, because I let 3 girls die before you. 3 girls I didn't warn, didn't protect, because I was too focused on finding proof and not enough on keeping them alive. I won't let you be the 4th. That's not your fault. Isn't it? His voice went hard. I'm the Alpha. Everything that happens to my pack is my fault. Their deaths are on me. But your survival? That, I can control. Luna pulled her hands free, standing up. Started pacing because staying still felt impossible. What about exposing Camille and Ronan? What about stopping whatever they're planning? You'll do that. Matthias stood too, watching her pace. After I'm gone. You have the gift, Luna. You can see their magic, track their movements. You'll find the proof and bring it to the pack. They'll never believe me. I'm nobody. Just a failed bride. You're more than that. Matthias caught her mid-pace, stopping her. You're smart. You're strong. You survived 4 days longer than any of the others because you learned to think instead of just react. You'll survive this too. Luna looked up at him. At this alpha who was planning to die for her. Who'd been taking a drug that was killing him faster just so he'd be strong enough to set her free. And she made a decision. No, Luna said. Matthias blinked. No. No, I won't let you die for me. Luna pulled away, moving to the desk where he kept all his notes, all his careful research. We have 3 days. That's enough time. Time for what? To finish what we started. Luna grabbed the notes, spreading them across the desk. You said the previous brides were sacrificed in dark magic rituals. Rituals need specific conditions. Locations. Timing. We find out where and when, we disrupt the ritual, and we expose them. That's too dangerous. Everything is dangerous now. Luna slammed her hand on the desk. You're dying. I'm supposed to be the next sacrifice. Ronan is about to challenge you for the pack. We're past the point where caution matters. Matthias stared at her. Then, slowly, he smiled. You know what? You're absolutely right. I am. Completely insane, but right. He moved to the desk, studying his own notes with fresh eyes. 3 days. We use that time to investigate Camille and Ronan. Find the ritual site. Gather proof. And on the night of the full moon, we spring the trap, Luna finished. During the challenge. In front of the entire pack. They'll have every wolf in the territory there to witness it. No way to cover up or deny what we reveal. Matthias's eyes gleamed. It's risky as hell. You got a better idea? He laughed, and it sounded almost genuine. Not even a little bit. All right, Luna Ashwood. We'll do it your way. But first, he crossed to a cabinet and pulled out another small vial. This one was full, the liquid inside that same dark red. More Vita Obscura? Luna's stomach churned. I'll need to be at full strength for what's coming. Both the investigation and the fight. Matthias held the vial up to the light. This is my last dose. After this, there's no more masking. Win or lose, I'm done. How long will it give you? 24 hours of appearing healthy. Then the crash comes, and it'll be worse than before. He met her eyes. I'm saving it for the challenge. Which means for the next 3 days, I'm back to being weak and dying. The council can't know I have this option. Luna understood. If they thought Matthias was going to fight at full strength, they might move up their plans. Change the ritual. So we're both playing roles. The dying king and his useless bride. Matthias set the vial down carefully. Meanwhile, we're actually hunting a conspiracy that's killed 3 women and is trying to kill us both. When you put it that way, it sounds impossible. Good thing we're both too stubborn to care. He moved back to the desk, pulling out a map of pack lands. Now. Tell me what you saw between Ronan and Camille. Every detail. Luna closed her eyes, reaching for her gift, remembering the threads of magic she'd seen connecting them. They're linked. Magically bound to each other somehow. The connection was thin, but it's there. A pact, Matthias murmured. They made a deal. Power for power. What does Ronan get out of this? Territory. Resources. An Alpha King's position. Matthias traced the map. But more than that. He gets the accumulated power from the sacrificed brides. If my guess is right, Camille's been funneling that power to him. Making him stronger while I get weaker. Luna stared at the map, at the pack lands that represented hundreds of lives. If he takes over, he'll have magical backing from Camille, supernatural strength from the sacrifices, and legal claim through challenge law. Matthias's jaw tightened. It's actually brilliant. Completely evil, but brilliant. We stop them. We stop them, he agreed. But we need proof. We need to catch them in the act. And that means we need to find out where they're planning to conduct the sacrifice. Luna thought of the 3 previous brides. Of the dates of their deaths. The rituals happened at night. Always within 2 weeks of the forced marriage. During the new moon, when dark magic is strongest. Matthias pointed to dates marked on his calendar. Which means the next optimal time is the night after the challenge, Luna finished. Win or lose, they're planning to sacrifice me during the new moon. Unless we sacrifice them first. Matthias smiled, and there was nothing kind in it. Metaphorically speaking. Luna looked at this dying king, this alpha who'd been fighting alone for months, and felt something shift in her chest. Not the incomplete bond, that was still there, pulsing quietly. This was different. This was choice. We're going to win, she said. Not a question. A statement. Damn right we are. Matthias held out his hand. Partners? Luna took it, feeling his cold skin against hers, feeling the determination that burned in him despite the poison eating him alive. Partners. They had 3 days to solve a conspiracy that had been years in the making. 3 days to expose corruption that reached the highest levels of pack leadership. 3 days to prevent a sacrifice that would kill Luna and cement Ronan's power. And they were going to do it all while playing the roles of a dying king and his worthless bride. Luna looked at their joined hands, at the incomplete bond mark that glowed faintly on her wrist, and thought, let them underestimate us. Let them think we're weak and broken and defeated. They have no idea what's coming. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 4. The blood moon rose like a wound in the sky, painting everything the color of old violence. Luna stood at the window of Matthias's chambers, watching wolves gather in the challenge circle below. They came from everywhere, pack members she'd known her whole life, neighboring packs drawn by the spectacle, rogues hoping to see an alpha fall. The circle itself was ancient stone, carved with symbols that glowed faintly in the crimson moonlight. By morning, someone would be dead. You should eat something. Matthias's voice came from behind her. He was already dressed for the fight, bare-chested, wearing only leather pants and boots. The Vita Obscura had worked its terrible magic. He looked strong again, healthy, the black veins of poison invisible beneath skin that appeared whole. But Luna could see the truth with her gift. Could see the drug burning through him like fire, consuming what little life he had left. I'm not hungry. Luna hadn't been able to eat since yesterday, when everything had fallen apart. They'd spent 3 days investigating. 3 days of Luna playing the terrified bride while secretly tracking magical signatures, following Camille's movements, searching for the ritual site. 3 days of Matthias pretending to be dying while mapping out connections, interviewing guards, piecing together a conspiracy that went deeper than either of them had imagined. And they'd found nothing concrete. Nothing they could prove. Camille was too careful. The ritual site too well hidden. The evidence always just out of reach. We're out of time, Luna whispered, her breath fogging the cold glass. I know. Matthias moved beside her, and Luna felt the heat of his body even though he wasn't touching her. But the plan stands. I fight Ronan. You watch for any sign of Camille making a move. If she tries anything. She won't. Not here. Not in front of everyone. Luna turned to face him. She'll wait until after. When she couldn't finish the sentence. Dead. Matthias said it for her. When I'm dead and the bond breaks violently, she'll be there to harvest the power. Just like she did with the others. Luna's hands clenched. This is wrong. All of it. I'm open to better ideas. She had none. They'd been over this a dozen times. Every scenario ended the same way, with Matthias dying and Luna barely surviving, or both of them dead and Camille winning. A knock at the door made them both turn. One of the guards entered, his face carefully neutral. "My king. It's time." Matthias nodded. The guard left, and Luna heard his footsteps retreating down the hall. They were alone for what might be the last time. "Luna." Matthias caught her hand. "Whatever happens down there, don't." She pulled away. "Don't do the noble speech. Don't tell me it'll be okay. We both know it won't." He smiled sadly. "I was actually going to say that you're one hell of a partner. These 3 days, working with you? Best I've felt in months, even dying." Something cracked in Luna's chest. "Matthias." The door burst open. Darren stood there, still in guard uniform but with wild eyes and torn clothes like he'd been running. "Luna. I found it." Matthias moved fast, pulling Darren inside and closing the door. "Found what?" "You're supposed to be in the cells." "I broke out." "Doesn't matter." Darren grabbed Luna's shoulders. "I found where they did it. The ritual site. Where they killed the other brides." Luna's heart stopped. "Where?" "The old temple. In the woods east of here." Darren was breathing hard. "I followed Camille last night. She went there, alone, and I saw," he swallowed hard. "There's an altar. With bloodstains. And names carved into the stone. Ilara, Sarah, Rebecca. The 3 previous brides." "Did she see you?" Matthias demanded. "No. I was careful." Darren looked between them. "But there's more." She was preparing. Setting up new candles, fresh salt lines, sharpening ritual knives. She's planning to do it again. Soon. Tonight, Luna breathed. After the fight. After the bond breaks. "We have proof now," Matthias said. "We can stop the fight, bring the pack to the temple." "No." Darren shook his head. "It won't work. I searched the temple grounds. There's no physical evidence linking Camille to the murders. She's too smart. Everything there could be explained as old pack rituals, historical artifacts. Without catching her in the act. We have nothing," Luna finished. Silence fell like a hammer. Then Darren said quietly, "Unless we give her what she wants." They both looked at him. "You let the fight happen," Darren continued, speaking faster now. "Let Matthias win or lose, it doesn't matter. The important thing is that the bond starts to break. Camille will sense it, feel the power releasing. She'll go to the temple to complete the harvest ritual. And we'll be there to stop her," Matthias said slowly. "Not we. Me." Darren met Luna's eyes. "I'll be there. With witnesses. Other guards who are loyal to the true king. We'll catch her red-handed, with all her ritual tools ready, with her magic exposed for everyone to see." It could work. It was dangerous and relied on perfect timing, but it could actually work. "Except. The bond breaking will kill me," Luna said flatly. "You saw what happened to the others. The power tears through the survivor. Even if you stop Camille from completing her ritual, I'll still. Not if you complete a different ritual first." Darren pulled a folded paper from his pocket. "I found this in the temple. Hidden under one of the altar stones. I think one of the previous brides tried to leave a message." Luna unfolded it with shaking hands. The paper was old, the writing shaky, but legible. "To whoever comes after me, there is a way to survive. A counter-ritual that can reverse the dark magic and expose the caster. But it requires completing the mate bond fully, accepting the alpha power that comes with it. The cost is eternal binding. You'll be tied to your mate even in death, sharing his fate completely." "I didn't have time." Maybe you will. The words are. The rest was ritual phrases in the old language. Luna read them twice, her mouth dry. It's a trap, Matthias said immediately. Completing the bond is exactly what Camille wants. It'll make the power transfer stronger when I die. Unless the counter-ritual changes how the bond works. Darren pointed to a line near the bottom. Look. It says it reverses the magic. Maybe it redirects the power back to its source instead of to Camille. Maybe. Matthias's voice was hard. And maybe it's bait. Something Camille planted knowing one of the brides might find it. Luna studied the paper, using her gift to look deeper. And she saw it, faint traces of magic clinging to the words. Not dark and twisted like Camille's power. Something else. Something that felt like moonlight and old promises. It's real, she whispered. Someone with pure magic wrote this. Someone who was trying to help. Even if it's real, the cost. Matthias grabbed the paper from her. Eternal binding, Luna. You'd be tied to me completely. If this goes wrong, if I die, you die. No second chances. I die anyway if we do nothing. Luna took the paper back. At least this way, we're fighting back. There's got to be another option. There isn't. Luna's voice cracked. We've looked for 3 days. This is it. This is the only play we have left. Matthias looked like he wanted to argue more, but a horn sounded outside. Low and deep. The signal that the challenge was about to begin. We're out of time, Darren said. Luna, if you're going to do this, you need to decide now. Luna looked at the paper in her hands. At the ritual words that promised salvation or damnation. At Matthias, who'd been dying by inches to set her free. At Darren, her oldest friend, willing to risk everything to help her. She thought of her sister. The thought came out of nowhere, sharp and painful. Luna's older sister, Vera, who died 5 years ago. The pack said it was a hunting accident. A fall from a cliff while chasing prey. But there'd always been something wrong about that story. Something that didn't fit. Luna looked at Darren. You said you were in the temple. You saw evidence of the previous murders. Yes. How far back did they go? Darren frowned. I don't know. The oldest name on the altar was carved pretty deep, like it had been there a while. Why? What was the name? I didn't. Darren stopped. Went pale. Oh gods. What? Matthias demanded. What name? But Luna already knew. Could see it in Darren's eyes. Vera, Darren whispered. The oldest name was Vera Ashwood. The room tilted. Luna grabbed the desk to stay standing. No. That's not possible. Vera died in a hunting accident. 5 years ago, Darren said quietly. Right before King Matthias started showing signs of the poison. Right when the council first started talking about finding him a mate. Luna felt sick. Felt like the ground was opening beneath her feet. Vera was the first. She was supposed to be his bride, but someone killed her before. Before the marriage could happen. Matthias's voice was rough. Before she could awaken her gifts and see through their conspiracy. The horn sounded again. Louder. More insistent. I'm going to kill them. Luna's voice came out cold and flat. All of them. Camille, Ronan, everyone involved. Good. Darren's eyes were hard. But first, we need you to survive this. Which means. I'll do the ritual. Luna folded the paper carefully and tucked it against her heart. During the fight. I'll complete the mate bond and perform the counter-ritual. Luna, Matthias started. Don't. She cut him off. This isn't just about survival anymore. They killed my sister. They've been playing with my family, my life, for years. I want them to pay for it. And the only way that happens is if I'm alive to make them. Matthias studied her face for a long moment. Then nodded once. All right. We do this your way. But Luna, if something goes wrong, if the ritual starts to fail. It won't. She had to believe that. Had to. If it does, he continued firmly, you break the bond immediately. You don't let yourself get dragged down with me. Eternal binding means eternal binding. I'm still the Alpha King. His voice carried command. And I'm ordering you to save yourself if this goes sideways. Luna wanted to argue. Wanted to tell him he couldn't order her to abandon him. But there wasn't time, and they both knew it. The horn sounded a third time. That's the final call, Darren said. We need to go. They moved together down the stairs, through corridors filled with guards and pack members all heading to the circle. Luna kept her eyes down, playing her part one last time. The weak, frightened bride following her king to his potential death. No one looked at her closely enough to see the determination underneath the fear. The challenge circle was packed with wolves. Hundreds of them, all pressed close to the ancient stones, all waiting to see blood. Luna found herself pushed to the front, given a place of prominence as the Alpha's mate. Across the circle, Ronan stood waiting. He'd stripped down for the fight too, and his body was all muscle and scars and predatory grace. He looked like violence personified. He caught Luna's eye and smiled. She looked away, searching the crowd for Camille. Found the elder standing with the rest of the council on a raised platform. The spiritual leader wore ceremonial robes and an expression of solemn duty. But Luna could see the truth. Could see the dark magic coiling around Camille like smoke, ready to strike the moment the bond began to break. They killed Vera, Luna thought. They murdered my sister and made it look like an accident. Rage burned in her chest, clean and bright. Cornelius stepped forward, raising his hands for silence. The crowd obeyed instantly. We gather under the blood moon to witness challenge combat, the elder intoned. Alpha Ronan has invoked the ancient rite. King Matthias has accepted. The law is clear, the victor claims territory, pack, and all that belongs to the defeated. Luna's hand moved to her chest, feeling the folded paper against her heart. The fight continues until one combatant yields or dies, Cornelius continued. There will be no interference, no mercy, no quarter given. He looked between Matthias and Ronan. Do you both understand the terms? I understand, Ronan said, his voice carrying across the circle. And I accept. As do I. Matthias stepped into the circle properly, and Luna saw him transform. Saw the dying king disappear and the true Alpha emerge. The Vita Obscura was working, burning through his life to give him these final hours of strength. Then by the law and the blood moon, let the challenge begin. Cornelius struck a gong. Ronan attacked immediately. He shifted mid-leap, human form blurring into massive wolf, and slammed into Matthias with enough force to crack stone. They went down in a tangle of teeth and claws, rolling across the circle while the crowd roared. Luna's hands clenched so hard her nails drew blood from her palms. She reached for the paper, began unfolding it, reading the ritual words silently. Around her, the pack was screaming. Cheering for their king or for the challenger, bloodlust rising with the crimson moon. Luna blocked them all out. Focused on the words. On the magic she could feel stirring in response to her attention. In the circle, Matthias shifted too. His wolf form was smaller than Ronan's but faster, more precise. He dodged a killing bite and raked his claws across Ronan's flank, drawing first blood. Luna began speaking the ritual words. Quietly, under her breath, so only she could hear. The incomplete bond flared. She felt it stretching, reaching for Matthias. Felt her wolf rising to meet his. Felt power beginning to wake in her blood, the same power that had stirred during their forced wedding ceremony. But this time, she wasn't fighting it. This time, she was welcoming it in. Ronan caught Matthias by the throat and slammed him into the ground. Blood sprayed across ancient stone. The crowd gasped. Luna kept speaking. Kept pulling on the bond, strengthening it, accepting what it meant to be truly mated to an alpha king. The magic rose higher. She could feel it now, not just her gift for seeing magic, but something deeper. Something that felt like moonlight in her veins. Like power that had been sleeping for generations, waiting for this moment. Matthias threw Ronan off and lunged back to his feet. They circled each other, both bleeding now, both breathing hard. And then Ronan shifted back to human form. "You fight well for a dying male," he called out, loud enough for everyone to hear. "The Vita Obscura works wonders, doesn't it?" Shocked whispers rippled through the crowd. How did Ronan know about the drug? "But I wonder," Ronan continued, stalking closer. "Does your pretty bride know about the other secrets you're keeping? About the other brides before her?" "Shut your mouth," Matthias growled. "Or what? You'll kill me?" Ronan laughed. "I don't think so. You're running out of time. That drug burns fast, doesn't it? Soon you'll drop, and I'll take everything. Including her." He pointed at Luna. "Did you tell her about Vera?" Ronan asked. "About the first girl we chose? The one who would have been your bride 5 years ago?" The crowd went silent. Every eye turned to Luna. Vera Ashwood, Ronan said her sister's name like a curse. Such a smart girl. She figured out what Camille was planning before we could bind her to you. So I killed her myself. Made it look like a hunting accident. Luna stopped breathing. The ritual words died on her lips. Pushed her right off that cliff, Ronan continued, his smile widening. Listened to her scream all the way down. And then we moved to the next girl in her bloodline. Then the next. And the next. Always someone from your precious family, because that's where the power is. Rage exploded in Luna's chest. The half-completed ritual flared wild and uncontrolled, responding to her fury. Power poured through the bond, raw and burning. In the circle, Matthias staggered. The bond was affecting him too, channeling Luna's rage into his body. Yes. Ronan saw it and attacked. "Get angry, little bride. Feed him your rage. Make him strong enough to fight, and strong enough to burn out faster." He was right. The ritual was working wrong. Luna was pouring too much power, too fast, and it was accelerating the drug's effects on Matthias. She tried to pull back, tried to slow down, but the magic had momentum now. "Luna, stop." Darren's voice from somewhere in the crowd. "You'll kill him." But she couldn't stop. The ritual had taken on a life of its own, and her rage was fueling it, and Matthias was burning. And then everything changed. The bond snapped into place. Fully complete. Luna felt it lock in her chest like a key turning in a lock. And the power that came with it nearly knocked her off her feet. This wasn't the gentle awakening she'd felt before. This was a flood. A tidal wave of magic that came roaring up from somewhere deep inside her, from a place she'd never known existed. In the circle, Matthias went rigid. His wolf form blurred, shifted, became something else. Something larger. His fur turned silver white, and his eyes blazed gold like the full moon itself. True alpha form. Luna had only heard stories about it. Only the most powerful alphas could achieve it, and even then, only at great need. But this was different. This wasn't just Matthias's power. This was theirs. Combined. Bonded. Eternal. Ronan backed up, his confidence faltering. "What?" Matthias lunged. The fight that followed wasn't even close. He moved like lightning, struck like thunder, and within seconds, Ronan was pinned beneath him, throat exposed, defeated. But that wasn't what made the crowd gasp. What made them gasp was the light. Luna looked down and saw it, silver-white light pouring from her skin, from her eyes, from the bond mark on her wrist that now glowed like a brand. The light spread outward, washing over the circle, over the crowd. And everywhere it touched, it revealed the truth. Camille's concealment magic shattered like glass. Dark tendrils of power became visible, writhing around her like snakes. The ritual implements she'd hidden on her person appeared: knives, vials, spell components. Evidence of her dark magic exposed for every wolf to see. No. Camille tried to run, but the light held her fast. Pinned her in place while her secrets bled into view. Luna saw it all. Saw the connections between Camille and Ronan, the pact they'd made. Saw the echoes of previous rituals, the deaths of 3 brides whose power had been harvested. Saw her sister's final moments, not a fall, but a murder. And she saw something else. Something that made her whole worldview tilt and reform. In the light, in the magic that was pouring through her, Luna saw her own bloodline stretching back through generations. Saw her great-grandmother, and the healer before her, and the truth-seer before that. Saw the line going back and back and back to a woman made of moonlight. The first daughter. The original Alpha. Not a king. A queen. The moon goddess's own child, blessed with power that could see truth, heal wounds, and rule with wisdom that came from the divine itself. Luna wasn't descended from healers who'd been lucky enough to mate with alphas. She was descended from the first Alpha Queen. The original ruler. The one all others came from. And that meant, "She's the true Alpha," someone in the crowd whispered. The whisper became a murmur. The murmur became a shout. The Alpha Queen. She's the Alpha Queen. Luna looked at Matthias, still in his true Alpha form, Ronan pinned beneath him. Their eyes met across the circle, and she saw him understand what she was only beginning to process. He wasn't dying because of poison alone. He was dying because Luna's presence in the pack, her dormant power awakening, had started pulling Alpha magic toward her. Toward its rightful bearer. And Camille had been siphoning that transferred power, stealing it for her own uses, leaving Matthias to wither. The prophecy wasn't about a healing bride saving a dying king. It was about an Alpha Queen reclaiming her birthright. And the counter-ritual hadn't reversed Camille's dark magic. It had awakened what Luna truly was. Power thrummed through her now, vast and ancient and absolutely certain. She looked at Camille, still frozen in the revealing light, and said in a voice that carried command. "You will confess. Every murder. Every theft. Every betrayal. You will speak truth, and the pack will bear witness." And Camille, bound by the light of the Alpha Queen's power, opened her mouth and began to confess. If you're still listening to this story up to this point, why don't you subscribe to this channel to continue getting impactful daily stories like this? We would be most grateful if you can do that to help boost this video to reach everyone. Thank you. Chapter 5. Camille's confession poured out like poison from a lanced wound. "I killed them. All of them." Her voice was hollow, compelled by Luna's power to speak only truth. "Elara, Sarah, Rebecca. I harvested their power during the new moon rituals. Used it to strengthen Ronan, to weaken Matthias, to prepare for the transfer of leadership." The pack was silent. Hundreds of wolves bearing witness to betrayal at the highest level. "And Vera Ashwood?" Luna's voice didn't shake, though her heart was breaking. "My sister? The first. The one who understood her bloodline's true nature." Camille's eyes were wild, fighting against the compulsion but unable to stop. She had to die before she could awaken. Before she could take what was rightfully. The elder's body convulsed. Dark magic erupted from her skin like oil seeping through cracks. "No." Cornelius lunged forward, but it was too late. Camille screamed. The sound wasn't human, wasn't wolf. It was something else entirely, something that made every wolf in the circle press back in instinctive horror. Her body twisted. Bones cracked and reformed wrong. Skin split and wove back together in patterns that defied nature. The stolen power she'd been hoarding for years, power ripped from dying brides, power siphoned from a weakening king, it erupted all at once. What stood in Camille's place was no longer an elder. No longer even a wolf. It was corruption given form. A beast twice the size of the largest alpha, with too many limbs and eyes that burned with sickly green light. Its fur was matted with shadows that moved independently, and when it opened its mouth, Luna saw rows of teeth like broken glass. If I can't have the power, the thing that had been Camille hissed, then no one will. It lunged for the crowd. For the pack members pressed closest to the circle. For the children who'd been brought to witness what should have been a simple challenge fight. Luna moved without thinking. The silver-white light that had been glowing around her exploded outward, forming a barrier between the corrupted beast and the pack. Camille slammed into it and recoiled, shrieking. "Get them out!" Luna shouted. "Get the children away from here." The pack erupted into controlled chaos. Parents grabbing their young. Guards forming protective lines. Darren appeared at Luna's side, sword drawn, his face set with grim determination. "I've got your back," he said simply. In the circle, Matthias had released Ronan. The challenger scrambled to his feet, looking between the corrupted elder and the exits. "This is your fault," Matthias growled at him. "You helped create this." "I didn't know she'd," Ronan backed up. "She said it would be controlled." "She said." "You knew enough." Matthias stalked forward, still in his true alpha form, radiating fury. "You knew about the murders. About the sacrifices. You killed Vera Ashwood with your own hands." Ronan bolted for the crowd. He made it 3 steps before pack members surged forward, blocking his escape. Wolves who'd been loyal to Matthias, who'd watched their king suffer for months, who'd lost friends and family to Camille's conspiracy. "Please," Ronan tried. "I was following orders. Camille made me." "You chose," a voice said from the crowd. One of the older guards, a male who'd served under Matthias for years. "You chose power over honor. You chose murder over mercy." The guard shifted. Others followed. Within seconds, Ronan was surrounded by a wall of fur and fangs and righteous anger. His screams were brief. Luna wanted to feel something about it. Pity, maybe. Horror at the swift justice. But all she felt was cold satisfaction. One traitor down. But the real threat was still very much alive. Camille's corrupted form circled the barrier Luna had created, testing it, looking for weaknesses. Every time she touched the light, she recoiled, but Luna could feel the pressure building. Could feel her own power straining to hold the barrier against the stolen magic Camille had been accumulating for years. "I can't hold this forever," Luna said through gritted teeth. "You don't have to." Matthias moved to her other side, and Luna felt their bond pulse. Felt his strength flowing through it, supporting her. "We fight together." "She's corrupted," Darren warned. "Normal weapons won't work. We need." Camille struck the barrier with all her stolen power. The light shattered. Luna flew backward, slamming into Darren. They went down in a tangle of limbs. Matthias lunged forward, meeting Camille's charge head-on. True alpha met corrupted beast, and the impact shook the ground. They fought like forces of nature. Matthias moved with speed and precision, his fangs finding purchase in shadow flesh that bled darkness. Camille countered with unnatural strength, her too many limbs striking from impossible angles. Luna scrambled to her feet, reaching for the power that still thrummed in her veins. The Alpha Queen magic that she barely understood how to use. "How do I fight that?" she asked, not sure who she was asking. The Moon Goddess, maybe. Her ancestors. The power itself. The answer came not in words but in instinct. In knowledge that bloomed in her mind like memory, except these weren't her memories. These were older. Ancient. She saw the first Alpha Queen standing against corruption. Saw the silver light not just as barrier but as weapon. As purification. Luna raised her hands and called the light forth again. This time, it didn't form a wall. It formed a spear. She threw it with all her strength, all her will. The spear of pure alpha power streaked across the circle and punched through Camille's shoulder, pinning her to the ground. The corrupted elder shrieked. Where the light touched, shadow flesh burned away, revealing something almost like normal wolf underneath. Again. Matthias called. Whatever you're doing, do it again. Luna formed another spear. And another. Each one striking true, each one burning away more of the corruption. But Camille was adapting. Learning. The stolen power writhed and reformed, creating armor of solid darkness. It's not enough, Luna panted. The power was draining her fast. She's too strong. Then we make you stronger. Matthias broke away from the fight and shifted back to human form. Stood before Luna with blood streaming from a dozen wounds, with his eyes burning gold, with something like pride in his face. Take what's yours. Luna understood what he was offering. The bond between them was complete, but it was still new. Still finding its balance. Matthias was offering to shift that balance. To give her full access to his alpha strength, his power, his life force. To make her truly the alpha queen while he became, what? A consort? A partner? Something less than he'd been? I can't ask you to do that, Luna said. You're not asking. I'm offering. He took her hands, and Luna felt the bond open wider. Felt his power becoming available to her. You were never meant to be just a bride, Luna. You were meant to rule. So rule. Luna looked at this dying king who'd chosen to fight beside her. Who'd taught her to see clearly and think strategically and stand strong even when afraid. Who'd been willing to sacrifice everything to set her free. And she realized something that made her chest ache. I don't want to rule alone, she whispered. Matthias smiled. Good. Because I'm not offering to disappear. I'm offering to stand beside you as an equal. Not king and queen through forced bonds and council law, but partners by choice. Behind him, Camille was breaking free of the light spears. Rising to her feet. Gathering her power for another attack. We can figure out the details later, Matthias said. Right now, we end this. Luna gripped his hands tighter and opened herself to the bond completely. Let his strength pour into her. Let their powers intertwine and amplify each other. The silver light exploded outward, brighter than before. Stronger. Luna felt herself change. Not physically, but something deeper. She felt the Alpha Queen power fully awaken, felt it recognize her as its rightful bearer, felt centuries of dormant magic roar to life in her blood. This was what Camille had been trying to steal. This was what she'd murdered 4 girls to obtain. But it had never been meant for taking. Only for awakening. Luna stepped forward, and her power moved with her like a living thing. Matthias moved beside her, perfectly in sync, their bonds singing with unified purpose. Camille charged. They met her together. The fight that followed wasn't long, but it was brutal. Luna learned to wield her power on instinct, forming weapons, barriers, chains of pure light that wrapped around Camille's corrupted form. Matthias covered her blind spots, struck when she needed space, defended when she needed time. They moved like they'd been fighting together for years instead of minutes. And slowly, inevitably, they were winning. Camille's stolen power couldn't stand against the genuine article. Every attack Luna landed burned away more corruption. Every strike Matthias made weakened the beast's defenses. Until finally, Camille was backed against the circle's edge, most of her corrupted form burned away, leaving something small and broken and almost pitiable. Please, the elder gasped. Back in mostly human form now, but twisted. Wrong. I deserved. You deserved nothing, Luna said coldly. You murdered my sister. You killed 3 other innocent girls. You betrayed your pack and your position and every wolf who trusted you. I was trying to restore the old ways. Camille's voice cracked. Before the kings took over. When queens ruled. When power belonged to those who understood magic. You don't get to claim that. Luna's power flared brighter. You don't get to pretend this was about restoring anything. This was about you. Your greed. Your ambition. She raised her hand, ready to strike the final blow. And that's when Camille's final desperate attack came. Not at Luna. Not at Matthias. At the crowd. At the pack members who'd pressed close again, thinking the fight was over. At the children who'd been brought back to witness justice being served. A wave of corrupted magic, everything Camille had left, flung toward innocents who had no defense. Luna didn't think. Didn't calculate. Just moved. She threw herself between the attack and the pack, using her own body as a shield, throwing up a barrier of silver light with every scrap of power she had left. The barrier held. The pack was safe. But the cost. Pain exploded through Luna's chest. She looked down and saw Camille's claws buried in her ribs, having struck from below while Luna's attention was on protecting the others. If I die, Camille hissed, you die with me. The elder's eyes blazed with her last reserves of corrupted power. Power that was now flooding into Luna through the wound, burning like acid. Luna's barrier flickered. Failed. She collapsed, taking Camille down with her. Luna. Matthias's roar shook the circle. He was there in an instant, ripping Camille away, snapping the elder's neck with one brutal motion. The corrupted magic died with her, the twisted beast form dissolving into ash and shadow. But the damage was done. Luna lay on the ground, blood pooling beneath her, corruption spreading through her veins like poison. She could feel it eating at her newly awakened power, could feel her life draining away. No. Matthias gathered her into his arms. No, you don't get to die. Not now. Not after everything. Protected them, Luna managed. Her voice sounded distant even to her own ears. The children. Safe. Damn the children. Matthias pressed his hand to her wound, trying to stop the bleeding. I need you. We need you. You're the Alpha Queen. Luna corrected. Her vision was going gray at the edges. For a few minutes. That's not bad. Luna, please. His voice cracked. Don't do this. Around them, the pack had gone silent. Darren was there suddenly, dropping to his knees beside them. There has to be something. Some way to heal her. There is. Matthias's voice went hard. Determined. But she has to choose it. He shifted her in his arms, cradling her against his chest. Luna felt his heartbeat against her back, strong and steady even as hers was faltering. What are you doing? Luna whispered. What I should have done from the beginning. Matthias bent close, his lips near her ear. I'm offering you a true mate bond. Not the forced marriage the council arranged. Not the incomplete bond we formed to fight Camille. A real bond, freely given on both sides. Luna's breath hitched. That's not, we barely know each other. I know you're brave. I know you're brilliant. I know you stood beside me when you could have run, and you protected innocence when it would have been safer to protect yourself. His arms tightened around her. I know that in 4 days, you became someone I'd trust with my life. With my pack. With everything. That's not love, Luna said. That's just. It's the beginning of something. Matthias turned her face toward him, forcing her to meet his eyes. And I want to see where it goes. But only if you choose it. Only if you want it to. Luna looked at him. At this Alpha King who'd been willing to die to set her free. Who'd taught her to be strong. Who'd stood beside her as an equal even when the power imbalance could have crushed her. The true mate bond, she said slowly. That's not just healing. That's everything, he finished. It's sharing life force, power, soul. It means you'll feel what I feel. I'll know your pain. We'll be bound together in ways that make the forced marriage look like a handshake. Why? Luna's vision was fading. She didn't have much time. Why offer that when you could just let me die and be free? Matthias smiled, and it was sad and fierce and absolutely sincere. Because I don't want to be free. I want to be yours. If you'll have me. Luna thought about it. About being bound forever to this male who'd started as a stranger. About sharing everything, power, life, soul, with someone she'd known less than a week. It was insane. It was rushed. It went against every instinct that said bonds should grow slowly, that love should be earned over time. But she'd learned something in the past 4 days. She'd learned that sometimes the person you need isn't the person you'd choose if you had all the time in the world. Sometimes they're the person who stands beside you when the world is ending. Who teaches you to be stronger. Who sees you, really sees you, and decides you're worth fighting for. Yes, Luna whispered. I choose you. I choose this. Matthias didn't hesitate. He pulled her closer and bit down on her throat, not to kill, but to mark. To seal the bond. Luna felt his life force pour into her. Felt their powers intertwine completely, no barriers, no holding back. Felt his strength becoming hers and hers becoming his until there was no distinction between them. The corruption burning through her veins met the pure alpha power flowing from Matthias and shattered. Burned away like darkness before the sun. Her wound began to close. The pain receded. And Luna felt herself being pulled back from the edge of death by the sheer force of their combined will. But it wasn't just healing. It was transformation. The power that had awakened when she'd completed the forced bond, that had been just the beginning. Now, with the true mate bond in place, with Matthias freely offering his strength to amplify hers, Luna felt the Alpha Queen magic fully manifest. Silver light erupted from both of them. From Luna and from Matthias. Their bond visible to everyone, blazing like a beacon. And in that light, something broke. Luna felt it shatter, the old council's authority. The ancient laws that had governed the pack for centuries. The rigid hierarchy that had allowed corruption to fester. It all came crashing down, swept away by the combined power of an Alpha Queen and her chosen mate. When the light faded, Luna found herself standing. Whole. Healed. More powerful than she'd ever imagined possible. And Matthias stood beside her, their hands clasped, their bond blazing between them like a living thing. The pack stared in silence. Then, one by one, they began to kneel. Not in submission. In recognition. The Alpha Queen, someone whispered. Then louder, the true Alpha Queen. The whisper became a chant. The chant became a roar. Luna looked at Matthias. What just happened? You shattered the old system, he said, and there was wonder in his voice. The council's power was built on laws and traditions that required alpha dominance. But you're not dominant. You're different. Something new. And when we bonded fully, when we became true equals. The power structure couldn't handle it, Luna finished. She looked at where Cornelius and the other remaining council members stood, looking lost. They have no authority anymore. None, Matthias agreed. Which means we need to build something new. Luna felt the weight of it settle on her shoulders. The pack was looking to her now. Expecting her to lead. To fix what had been broken. She should have been terrified. Should have felt overwhelmed. Instead, she felt ready. Darren, she called. Her oldest friend stepped forward, still covered in blood from the fight, but standing tall. My queen? The title felt strange, but Luna didn't correct him. I need a guard captain. Someone I trust completely. Someone who'll tell me the truth even when it's hard to hear. Are you interested? Darren's eyes widened. Then he dropped to one knee, his fist over his heart. It would be my honor. Good. Luna turned to face the pack. We're going to do things differently now. No more council making decisions in secret. No more forced marriages or sacrificial brides. No more power concentrated in the hands of a few who abuse it. She raised her voice, letting it carry across the circle. The old system is broken. Dead. Buried with Camille and Ronan and everyone else who thought they could use us as pieces in their games. Luna's power flared, silver light washing over the assembled wolves. We're building something new. Something better. And anyone who has a problem with that can challenge me now. Silence. No one moved. That's what I thought. Luna allowed herself a small smile. Now get out of here. Go home. Tend your wounded. Mourn those we lost. Tomorrow, we start fixing this pack. Tonight, we rest. The pack began to disperse, moving slowly, still processing everything that had happened. Cornelius approached hesitantly. The old elder looked diminished somehow, smaller. Luna, my queen. What will become of the remaining council? Luna looked at him. At this male who'd helped force her into marriage. Who'd been complicit in Camille's conspiracy, even if he hadn't known the full extent. That depends, she said. Are you going to help me build something better? Or are you going to fight to preserve the old ways? Cornelius was quiet for a long moment. Then he bowed, deeper than Luna had ever seen him bow before. I will serve as you command. The old ways are dead. I see that now. Good. Luna gestured toward the pack house. Then help Darren coordinate the cleanup. Make sure everyone injured gets to the healers. Make sure everyone who fought today gets fed. And tomorrow, we'll talk about what a council should actually do. Cornelius left, looking relieved to have a clear task. Luna sagged against Matthias, suddenly exhausted. Did we really just do that? You did that. He wrapped his arm around her, holding her steady. I just stood beside you. We did it together. Luna looked up at him. Equal partners. That's what you said. That's what I meant. Matthias touched her face gently. How are you feeling? The bond, it's a lot to process. Luna took inventory. She could feel him now, his presence in her mind like a constant warmth. Could sense his exhaustion, his relief, his satisfaction at having fought well. Could feel the love starting to take root, tentative and new but undeniably there. It's strange, she admitted. But good. Right. Even though we barely know each other? His eyes crinkled with humor. We'll learn. Luna leaned into him. We have time now. Real time. Not stolen hours between crises. What do you want to do at that time? Matthias asked softly. Luna thought about it. About the pack that needed rebuilding. About the old systems that needed dismantling. About the justice that needed to be served and the healing that needed to happen. But also about this male who'd become her mate. Who'd chosen her not because council law demanded it, but because he wanted to. Who saw her as an equal even though her power now exceeded his. Everything, Luna said finally. I want to do everything. Rebuild the pack. Dismantle corruption. Make sure no girl ever gets forced into marriage again. Make sure no alpha ever has to die alone because people around them are stealing their power. She pulled back to look at him properly. But I also want to know you. Really know you. I want slow mornings and quiet evenings and time to figure out what this bond means when we're not fighting for our lives. That sounds perfect. Matthias kissed her forehead. Though I should warn you, I'm terrible at slow mornings. I wake up early and want to do things immediately. I'm impossible before coffee, Luna countered. And I talk too much when I'm nervous. I noticed. His smile widened. I like it. They stood there in the circle, surrounded by the aftermath of the fight. By ash and blood and broken stone. By the ruins of the old system and the promise of something new. They forced me to marry a dying king, Luna said quietly. Matthias raised an eyebrow. Is there a point to this story? Luna smiled, and it felt fierce and satisfied and completely genuine. Instead, I brought an entire system to its knees. She looked out at her pack now, truly, and felt the weight of responsibility settle alongside the power. And tomorrow, she continued, we start building something better. Something worthy of the wolves who died for it. Something that honors my sister and the 3 girls who came before me. Something that makes sure no one else has to be sacrificed for someone else's ambition. Together, Matthias said firmly. Together, Luna agreed. She took his hand, their bond blazing bright between them, and walked toward their future. Toward a pack that would need to be rebuilt from the ground up. Toward justice and healing and the slow, careful work of creating something new from the ashes of corruption. But she walked toward it as herself. Not a forced bride. Not a sacrificial offering. Not a pawn in someone else's game. She walked toward it as the Alpha Queen, powerful, chosen, and finally, completely free. Behind them, Darren fell into step, ever the loyal guard. Around them, the pack began to reassemble, looking to their new queen for guidance. And above them, the blood moon was fading, giving way to dawn. A new day. A new beginning. And Luna was ready for all of it. Thank you for watching this video. Subscribe, like and share this video to continue listening to this type of story daily and also, to appreciate this community too. I would like to hear your wonderful opinion about this story. Please comment below.